A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said, "But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For, as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming." But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. One of the great things about the daily grind of life is that it grinds along daily. It carries us along. Those habits which form every single part of our day, the cycle of chores, the cycle of tasks, the cycle of work, the cycle of rest, all of these things carry on and carry us along. Like driftwood going down the river Wye, we just simply go along in the stream of life. It just seems to grind on and on. The inevitability of rising and sleeping, of eating and drinking and all the rest of it. Day goes into day and week goes into week and month goes into month. We simply go along, we simply repeat, and then we simply repeat, and then we simply repeat. Now, it was always like this. In the passage we've just heard, Jesus spoke about people in the time of Noah. And Jesus describes there about how they just carried on in their daily lives. They were marrying and giving in marriage and all the rest of it. The endless cycle of life was carrying on until suddenly one day it wasn't. The flood came and they were swept away. Suddenly, the ordinary was deluged by the extraordinary as God stepped in and it all changed. And that sort of demonstrates something. It demonstrates that there's a great danger in simply trudging through your life without ever pausing and taking the time to look up. There's a great danger in being carried along with things so that you never stop and think and pray. It is an effort at times to punctuate our lives so that we may stop and consider who we are and stop and consider who God is. Our Bibles at times are more dusted than they are opened because life just carries us along. Jesus warns that he will return at an hour that you don't expect. And this is also the pattern of our daily Christianity. God doesn't only work on Sundays. God is as active and as present to us now as he is at any other time of the week. God is always there. He's at all times in all places. He's never somebody that we leave behind. And so we must be careful and aware to look and to understand and to feel his presence with us. God is as present with us at the sink and the petrol station as he is in church. Jesus said, "Lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." And that's pretty comprehensive. He is always with us. How much richer our experience of the faith would be if we got into the habit of stopping and looking up and considering God in the midst of our lives. So I wonder whether I might make 1 or 2 suggestions to you that might help in just puncturing our lives, or punctuating even our lives, so that we may become more aware of God with us. Perhaps you might turn the radio off when you drive along and use that time to think and to pray. Maybe pray for the people who live in the houses that you are driving past. Perhaps when you're queuing up at a checkout, you might use that time simply to stop and to pray. If you're a great watcher of the news or listener to the news, at the end of the news, turn off the television and pray for what you've just seen and witnessed. Maybe you want to make sure you wake up and the first thing you do as you get up is to spend just some time with God. Maybe you make a list of those for whom you want to pray. Maybe you set that up on your kitchen table at night so the next morning it's there and it's easy for you to get into that pattern and into that habit. You see, so much of the Christian life is simply about paying attention. Paying attention to God in prayer, paying attention to his words in Scripture. Don't fall into the trap that those people at the time of Noah did, where they simply carried on with life until suddenly everything changed. Rather, heed Jesus' words. Stay awake.